What's going on, Boiler Nation? Happy New Year from the Boiler Breakdown Podcast. It's our first episode of 2024 as we're recording this live Thursday night, January 4th, 2024. Happy New Year, Webby. Did you have a good one?
I did. How about you?
Yeah, pretty uneventful, but it was good.
Yep, same.
That's how I kind of like it anymore. I'm getting too old.
Yeah, so we've done the downtown Indy New Year's Eve stuff in the past, and it was horrible, and so we're never doing it again. So we're happy just to hang out at home with the dogs and just kind of hang out and chill.
I think that's 3 years in a row. Actually, well, we part of the day we had a family Christmas.
You're
And
right.
then, so the time we got home, we were pretty tired, anyways. Not that we had any plans to do anything crazy, anyways. But I barely stayed awake to see midnight, but I did. So, yep, yep. But it's a great time to be a Boilermaker. I mean, it's always a
Hmm.
great time to be a Boilermaker, but especially right now, the Boilers are rolling. Since we last recorded an episode, the Boilers took care of business at home last Friday against Eastern Kentucky in a game that was a little sloppy at times, but Purdue
Hmm.
took care of business, winning by what was it, 28 at the end, 27, 28,
I think it
something like
was 27. I think we just missed the cover.
that.
I think cover was like 27 and a half.
Okay, okay. So and then
But Courtney Green was on the call, so what do you expect?
very true, very true. Great track record that guy has. And then we resumed Big Ten play, picked it back up where we left off in December earlier this week, Tuesday night, when we traveled to College Park to take on the Maryland Terrapins on the Peacock. Which honestly, about 5 minutes before the game, I'm surfing through the channels for the game. I'm like, why am I not finding the
I did the
game? And it
same
hit me.
exact thing.
Oh yeah, it's on Peacock.
Yeah,
So,
did the exact same thing.
which if you don't have Peacock already, you better get it because I think the next 3 Tuesdays we play on Peacock.
Oh wow, okay.
At Nebraska's on Peacock. At Indiana's on Peacock. And I think our
So we pull the
home
schedule.
game, I think the following week's on Peacock, but I don't
It's
know
like
who that is.
Michigan or something.
It
One
might
of
be.
those.
It might be. But yeah, if not, if you haven't subscribed already, probably better do that. It's not going
Michigan.
anywhere. It's not going anywhere anytime soon with this Big Ten agreement with NBC.
Hmm.
So yeah, but nice to see Purdue take care of business, get back in the winners column in the Big Ten, which I know they did against Iowa after losing at Northwestern. But nice to get that first road Big Ten win of the season. Final score ended up being 67-53, but really the game felt like it was, or the score felt like it was a lot closer than the game actually was.
Hmm. Yeah, Maryland got some kind of just desperation threes to go late when the game was already out of hand. I mean, really, it's the start of that second half, like when Lance Jones hit those three threes, it was almost like the game kind of was over at that point. There was still
Mhm.
probably, probably more than 15 minutes left to go in the game, but it was just such a backbreaker for Maryland. But it was nice to see Purdue coming on top when it's a place that I think what we lost the last four times we've been out there. Obviously, last year was well documented, just kind of the wheels fell off. But I think yeah, the last time we won was 2017, which is when Carson Edwards hit some clutch free throws at the very end. And it feels like ages ago.
And we almost blew it in an unbelievable fashion. You remember that when Isaac Haas picked off the ball, got caught for traveling,
Yes,
and oh, the kid ended up going to the NBA, red hair from Maryland.
Herder.
He had to look at the buzzer to, I
Yeah,
think, win the game, and he missed. So,
yeah. I
yeah.
remember I was with my now wife's family. We were eating like Texas Roadhouse or something like that in India. I remember like having I think like we were losing pretty badly for a while, and
Mhm.
I was I was like, screw this game, I'm done. I think I listened to it, I was following it, and then like I kind of wasn't paying attention for a while. And I checked the score. I was like, oh, we're down only like five or six, and I was like, the TV was like 40 feet away, and I was trying to have lunch with their family while also paying attention to this game. Yeah, that was a fun game.
We just chipped away and found a way in the end. So, but
Hmm.
snapped their 19 game home win streak,
Hmm.
which I forgot they were even on that. To be honest, just because they've
Hmm.
kind of played poorly. I mean, they have a 9-5 record now. They do have a road win against UCLA, but I mean, the only time I'd really watched Maryland before Tuesday night's game was uh, scratch it out, dog fight of a win at home against Nicholls State. Night, Morehead State in a same exact game. So I can't
Yeah.
wait. with the impression from that game, Maryland's not very good. And really, they have too much talent to be this poor.
Yeah, going into the year, they're one of the teams that I thought could be really good in the league. I guess, I mean, they still technically could. I mean, we still have, what, 17 games left, but, um, early returns are not showing that. So, yeah, I think they started out kinda slow in the season, like, they had some talented freshmen come in, so I thought those guys would be pretty good, but I remember I watched their game against Indiana, which, I mean, they've always, I mean, even last year, they were pretty Jekyll and Hyde from home, and obviously they won every home game in the conference, but lost a lot of their road games. Um, and they got blasted at Indiana, and Indiana's nothing to write home about right now. Um, so I
No.
was like, I knew they were bad then. I remember watching that game, just like their offense was just horrible. I think I made a joke that our intramural team probably ran a better offensive sets than they did.
I don't know about that.
But they kind of, they stumbled for a bit, and then they rallied off some wins, like you just said. I mean, they beat UCLA, which UCLA is really struggling too. But nevertheless, it's at least it's a Power Six team. And I just knew that this, again, number one team coming in. It's a place we haven't won at in a while. The place last year was pretty hostile, and their fans are known to be pretty nasty. So I was expecting, an absolute slugfest, and it kind of was for a little bit. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of fouls called in this game. I guess, I mean, that's a good thing going both ways. There were a few that were pretty questionable. But yeah, the fact that got in there, got the win in really dominating fashion was very encouraging and really fun to watch.
Yeah, Purdue shot made 25 field goal attempts or 25 field goals on 54 attempts for 46.3%. That's compared to Maryland making 21 of their 63 attempts for 33.3%. Purdue hit 9 of 20 from behind the arc for 45%. Maryland only 5 for 22 for 22.7. Maryland actually shot more free throws than Purdue. They were 6
I
for
know.
11 from the line. Purdue was 8 for 10. Zach Edey was 7 for 8 by himself. Purdue out rebounded Maryland only by 5, 39-34. Maryland had
There's a point
15
where they were
offensive.
like, there's one point they were killing us on the boards because they got so many
Yes,
offensive rebounds because some of their shots were so bad that it was impossible to
100%. The
rebound.
law and rebounds, those are hard to get. They got
Yeah.
15 offensive boards to our 10. We beat them on the defensive glass 29-19. 16 assists for the Boilers, only 5 for the Terrapins. Maryland did have 6 steals. Purdue 1. 3 blocks
Mhm.
for Maryland, 2 for Purdue. Purdue did have more turnovers, 12. Maryland had 9. Um, Maryland actually had more points in the paint than Purdue did, 28-22. Yeah, it's interesting because we got called for a flagrant foul, yet there it says flagrant foul 0 in the box score. So, largest lead for Maryland, 0. Purdue's largest lead, 22.
Yeah, when the
Um,
game started out with a Trey Kaufman ran three, it kind of thought, okay, that was a nice start. 'Cause I mean,
Sometimes when you hit those ones early, they can really, I don't want to say break a team, but they can put a team in a bad funk for sure.
especially when it's a guy like Trey who doesn't, he's shot okay this year, but it's not like it's a Fletcher Lawyer or Braden Smith three where it's like, you expect those guys to make it, but like when it's the four guy
Yeah.
shooting it, and it's like it can kind of maybe spell this could be a long night. Um,
Well, and they played good
yeah,
defense too on that
yeah,
possession until he made
yeah,
that three. So, um,
yeah. This is also
it,
probably one of the better
and that
passing
was his
games I
only
feel like I've
basket
seen.
of the game.
Yeah,
He was 1 for
he had
3.
that, and then Cam Heidi was 1 for 1. He had a big three, I think, in the second half.
It was
Second
still in
half?
the first half.
No,
Still in the
first
first
half.
half.
First half.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, it was just. I mean, it was. I mean, pretty. We're used to seeing Purdue score in the 80s. For this whole season. So I mean, they were able to slow the game down. Partly because they run long sets, but also they got some multiple possessions because of their awful shooting that led to long rebounds. I mean, they're a physical team, and you can definitely tell. They were getting up into Braden, but I mean, they handled the press, um, damn near flawlessly for the most part. Might have been a couple turnovers that were a little kind of careless towards the end. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was very impressed with the guards. Lance
Mhm.
Jones was awesome. I mean, he started out so cold, but I mean, it's kind of it was a pretty prototypical Lance Jones game where he started out just like, okay, after we missed like three, he's like, okay, let's not shoot the ball anymore. And then, of course, comes out in the second half and hits three right away. I was like,
Yeah,
okay, I'll
you looked
take
at
it.
his numbers, you're thinking it was a pretty poor shooting night. 4 for 13, 3 for 10 from behind the arc, but he had 3 of them second half
Mhm. I
for
mean, it's
11
been said
points.
too. It's like it's not always just about hitting threes, but it's like when you hit them. Like I mean, those
Right.
threes, like had they come in the first half, yeah, they're great. But like the fact that they came right at the start of the second half, they just like any sort of second half adjustments, momentum that Maryland maybe thought they had was just went right out the window
Right.
because it was just bang, 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 and all
Right.
of a sudden what was the score at halftime? We were up by I don't even remember what the score was at halftime.
32-19 a half.
Okay, so we we're up 13. So not I mean I was kind of even thinking at the game. I was like, I feel like we should be up more,
Right.
given the way it was going. So I was like, I don't know if that's didn't feel great because even Jameer Young hadn't really got going. I'm like, man, he's a little firecracker.
He ended up with 26 points.
Yeah, no assists, which is crazy because no one else can hit the broadside of a barn. But the fact that we came around in the second half and with Lance Jones firing, it would like it just completely went from a 13-point game to all of a sudden you're talking 20-point game in an instant, and then it was just kind of like just coasting towards the end.
Reigning defending National Player of the Year, Zach Edey, 23 points in 34 minutes, 8 for 13 from the floor, and had 12 rebounds, 9 of those defensively. Braden Smith, the point guard, or as Evan likes to call him, point god.
Yep.
35 minutes of action, so he had the most run of any Purdue player. 6 of 13 shooting, 2 from 3 from behind the arc, 14 points, added 7 rebounds, all on the defensive end, 6 assists, 1 steal.
And again, looking at his numbers, like 6 to 13, like it's not great, especially from a guard. But again, second half, he had some just absolute killer shots towards the end to kind of really put the game away. Even like when Maryland made a little bit of a run, it was still only got down to like 14, and then we immediately just punched them right back and got that lead back up to 16, 17, 18, and just really kind of kept them at arm's length the entire second half.
And I remember kind of getting on him for his it was a really bad turnover. At one point, he jumped up to, I think, shoot it or pass it, and he was going to come down and travel, but instead of firing it towards the basket, he just tossed it backwards. Nobody's there. They went in transition, scored. Well, he came right back down and nailed a 3. That's what I like to see. It's like when he screws up, he seems to come back and make up for it. Right now.
It's such a huge growth moment compared to last year, whereas like that could have been two more turnovers. Like he tries to do too much. I've just been so impressed with him this whole season. And I saw a lot of people say it on the boards and on Twitter. Zach might be the National Player of the Year, but Braden, it feels like Braden might be this team's MVP right now because, Zach's better. This team's better. I feel like this team is so much better, partly because of the play of Braden.
I agree,
and obviously Lance Jones too.
One guy who I think's been on a hot streak. The box score is not going to show it. I mean, he played 23 minutes, had 4 points, 3 rebounds, but he had 2 assists, 0 turnovers, and his hustle and just doing the right thing. Mason Gillis. Mm-hmm. He's playing really well right now. I mean, he's getting more minutes than Trey Kaufman-Renn and Caleb Furst, even almost more minutes than them combined usually. Like, for instance, he had 23 minutes this game. Trey had 17, Caleb 6. Our bench in total only scored 7 points, but they only had 1 turnover.
Right.
That's pretty important.
Yeah. Credit to Mason too. This is a kid who's been a starter essentially for multiple years. And then all of a sudden, he's, senior. Technically, yes, he could come back, but no, but he's a 5th-year senior now. An old man in college, in the college realm, coming off the bench, limited minutes, but he's, he's doing what Mason Gillis does, which is just, bust his ass, and definitely has that level of toughness that this team, lacked last year, I think. A lot of, and I think Lance Jones has helped that too. I think Edey too. I think they're all just playing pissed off, which I love, which is I think led to a lot of the success that they've had already. But he's been phenomenal. He's kind of like doing that Grady Eifert role of come in, don't make mistakes, hit the open shot when you get it, passing the ball when you should be passing the ball, and that's all I can really ask for.
Well, in some games like this game, he's getting starter minutes.
Right.
23 minutes. Does it concern you? I saw this on the message boards. Do you think Caleb Furst is in a little bit of a lack of confidence funk right now?
Excuse me. I don't know. Because he had a bad stretch. He played 6 minutes, but he had that really bad stretch.
He didn't even tip the shot.
Yeah, we had like a turnover. I think he drove and just kind of lost the ball or got stolen from him. I don't know. I love his hustle. That's what I love about him. He's really athletic. I feel like he's more athletic. He looks athletic, but I think he's even more athletic than he even looks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We haven't really seen him a whole lot. Haven't really seen him shoot it too much. I don't know if that's a common thing or just him trying to find the open man. I know I haven't been really I haven't been happy with his free throws. I know the last couple times I think what was it I don't know, did he attempt free throws? He didn't attempt free throws in this game, did he?
No, he didn't attempt any
No,
free
it might have
throws,
been the
no
last
shots,
game,
no
or
nothing.
it might have been the Eastern Kentucky game where like it just didn't look good. Um, yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know either. I mean, we're just speculating, of course, but you got to think the guy. I know he's a team first guy. We got to think he's down the dumps a little bit, probably by
Hmm.
maybe his minutes and with how he's played. I know he's had moments, but he probably hadn't been as consistent as a junior as he was
Hmm.
hoping for. I mean, but that's the tough part of having a really good team and a lot of
Yeah,
depth is minutes are going to come and go, and you got to be ready. I mean, who's to say tomorrow night won't be his night?
right.
Same thing for Miles Colvin. I'm looking at his minutes, 3 minutes. It's like, is he going to start getting a spot in rotation where he's not even seeing playing time? But I think he's so athletic and can be that spark off the bench. And he actually did not attempt a shot this game, but usually attempts at
Yeah,
least one or two shots really quickly. Um, Especially against a team like Illinois tomorrow, I think you have to play him a little bit. But I think all these guys just have to have the mentality of when our number's called, we got to be ready. That's
yeah.
just
That's I mean, Painter's talked about that for I mean, really, for like, especially the last couple of years when we've just been so deep. I mean, he talked about a lot like with Trey last year of he was Edie's backup, and Edie's not off the floor a whole lot, and it's tough for guys just to, or even like Brandon Newman when he was coming off the bench of like it's tough for those guys to sit for 10 minutes and then all of a sudden be asked, all right, go out there and all these other guys you're going against guys who've been playing for 10, 15 minutes already, and you got to go compete and essentially contribute right away. And it's some
right.
guys it's tough, and so I think it's just kind of like I mean, Painter obviously, I mean, he's obviously talked to these guys, and they know that, that he knows it's tough for them, but he's got to do what's best for the team. But I feel like usually with those guys, it's like whoever can come in and contribute right away. Usually, gun is the guy who sticks out there longer. If they make a couple mistakes, whatever, they get pulled because it's a high stakes game. Um, and it's probably gonna be like that moving forward. So you guys just gonna be one of those things where the numbers called, they got to go out there and perform. Otherwise, they're probably gonna be sitting on the bench again pretty quickly.
I like what Brian Newbert of Golden Black said about this game. These are the games you win the Big Ten title.
Hmm.
It's not the CBS national games against Michigan State. It's not the road trips to Nebraska, even on like a Wednesday night on Big Ten Network. It's these sort of games.
Hmm.
It's games over like a Christmas break. Students aren't there. Kind of a sleepy environment, even though it's a tough
Hmm.
place to play, and a team that on paper has a lot of talent. These are the games you got to get.
Yep. Yeah, it's always a. I feel like at the times we've lost the Big Ten, it's not because like, oh crap, we lost to Michigan State or we lost to even Indiana. It's like, oh crap, we blew a crappy, we lost to Rutgers, who's barely squeaking in the tournament, or maybe not even squeaking in the tournament, or dropping a game out of a crappy Wisconsin or whatever it may be, or getting blown
Mm-hmm.
out at home by Wisconsin or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. So good win nonetheless. College Park. I'm really not looking. I'm not trying to jump too far ahead, but I'm not looking forward to our next road game next week in Nebraska.
that place they're playing pretty well.
They are.
It's a tough place to play. I mean, those great to those
We
fans.
we beat one there in overtime last year. We've lost there a couple times throughout the
Yep.
year. So
That was
yeah,
last year when Fletcher put a guy on a poster
yes, he did.
one
I don't
time.
think he's dunked since,
No,
but maybe
um,
once. But
but it'll be. I mean, like every other road game, it's going to be a hostile environment, especially when students get back.
yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of a hostile environment, hopefully Illinois is coming into one tomorrow night in Mackey Arena as number 9 Illinois comes in to face number 1 Purdue. It's only the ninth top 10 matchup in Mackey Arena history. Purdue's 4-4 in those previous 8, and this is the first one in 14 years.
That's
The last
crazy.
one was when Purdue was number 6 at the time, taking on number 4 West Virginia in January of 2010. Probably most known for Robbie Hummel getting the 5-second call when before the rules had changed on the West Virginia guy and the roof pretty much blowing off Mackey Arena, one of the loudest moments in the history of Mackey.
West Virginia team that went to the Final Four too.
Yes, they did that. Yeah, still painful that year with them making it and Butler just being in the backyard in Indianapolis and Duke who beat us in the Sweet 16 and Michigan State who we had beat once and darn near twice without Robbie the second time.
Hmm.
Um, But looking at this series, this is usually a pretty competitive series dating back to 99. Purdue leads the series 26 wins to 17 losses. At Mackey Arena, they're 14-5. On the road, they're 10-10. They have a 3-game win streak in this series, with the last matchup being senior day last year in Mackey. Purdue won 76-71. On March 5th, Purdue was ahead big time in that game, and Illinois came
Hmm.
roaring back, and Purdue held on for dear life.
Which something that Illinois did all year. They get down by double digits. It was like whenever they got down by like 10, 15, even 20 points, it was like they didn't start playing until that happened. Then they come storming back, and yeah, that was a game that Purdue just just hanging on for all they could.
Purdue's last home loss to Illini came on
It
Tuesday,
was a rough
January
one.
21st, 2020,
It was a
before the
rough one.
pandemic hit, 79-62. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that
was, and
was
that was the game.
Sasha got
Oh,
stepped on.
yep, I can't think of the guy's name. He
Yeah,
transferred to Syracuse, got kicked out of the game. I
yeah,
cannot think of his name right now.
yeah. That was
Um,
an. I mean, that was a good Illinois team. Obviously, they had Io DeSumo, had Kofi Coburn. That was the. I mean, obviously, it was a COVID year, the year of COVID shutting down, but it was before they got the one seed.
yes.
But yeah, that was a really good. That was a really really good. Trent Frazier was on that team. Yeah, Purdue just got ran out of the gym.
Before that, Illinois' last win in Mackey was on December 30th, 2008, 71-67 overtime win, which if
Wow,
Juwan Johnson makes both of his free throws in regulation, at the end of the game, Purdue wins. He made
I
one or two.
remember that. I remember I was listening to that game. Yep, I remember listening to that game on the radio.
And then even before that, you got to go January 8th, 2015, 2005. Gene Katie team that was not good at all against number one Illinois only lost 68-59.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they went to the final.
it's
They went
been
to the
a house of
championship game.
horrors. It's been a house of horrors for Illinois, more times than not. Hopefully, it is again tomorrow night. Um,
Yeah,
they are one of my least favorite teams in all of college basketball. So
yeah, my hope is I'm really nervous about this game, just because they're. I mean, I mean, the reasons why I'm gonna say that I'm nervous sounds dumb, given the fact that who Purdue has beat so far because they're super athletic.
yeah,
um, and maybe it's just because it's our we've got friends and all that stuff that are huge Illinois fans, but
one
yeah,
one
one,
friend.
yeah, yeah. This game makes me. I've got coworkers, and my
Okay.
boss is a huge Illinois fan, so I've got that
Now I'm trying to
going
think if
against
I'm
me.
missing any other friends that are Illinois fans. I can only think of one, but maybe there's some others out there. Apologize if so.
Yeah, but I mean, this game, I don't know, but I'm hoping it goes the way of the 2022 game, where again it was a high stakes. I mean, but I think both teams were ranked pretty high. Illinois came into Mackey, and Ivy just took over the second half, and Purdue ran away with it. I'm hoping that's how the game goes
Yeah.
tomorrow, because I don't think the trip to Champagne's not going to be a good one at the end of the year. I don't think because they're going to be. I mean they're solid. I mean everyone thought that without Shannon that they'd be kind of fall off, but I mean sometimes who knows?
It, we'll see. It's a lot of season left. I mean, I know they've won their 2 games without him, and beat Northwestern by 30 points the other night at home, which was really impressive. I still think Purdue. I think Northwestern caught lightning in a bottle the night they played
Hmm.
Purdue. I'm looking forward to that rematch in Mackey later on this month. But if Illinois hits some adversity, and assuming Terrence Shannon Jr. doesn't come back, it'll be interesting to see how they handle it. Because in the
Hmm.
past, under Brad Underwood, they haven't handled adversity very well.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean this
gotta
is like I mean
gotta
it
come
feels
out and
like
punch him in the face.
yeah I mean this feels like I mean it sounds so dumb saying it in the fourth game of the conference. It's like feels like a game that really could make a big
Yeah,
difference in the Big Ten. Because remember, if Purdue loses, Illinois, they're down 2 games to Illinois, and so
right.
like looking at like Illinois' schedule, I mean, again, it's like I mean anybody can lose to anybody on any given night, but like you look at it, it's like they've got like 7 games before they play like a legit opponent like Ohio State, so it's like
Mhm.
yeah, just got to take care of business and let chips fall where they may.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I'm a little worried. I especially after they beat Northwestern by 30. But
Yeah.
I'm not. I've been more worried for some other games this season than I am for this
Hmm.
one. But it's a conference game. Glad it's at home, but conference game's never
Yeah.
easy. 8:30 at night. Fox Sports One. No students again, but it's sold out. Place will be rocking. Um, I'm finally making my return to Mackey. It's been a while, so hopefully that's good news. My wife will be with me, which she didn't go to a game last year, but the previous 2 she's been to is the Jaden Ivey buzzer beater against Ohio State and when we hung on Senior Day against Indiana. So hopefully that's good news. Hopefully that's good
So
news.
she's always close games when
Oh
there's
yeah,
athletes
oh
in
yeah,
the buildings.
yeah.
So
That's a
God, I
great way to
cannot
put it.
wait.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, yeah. That's that. I'm trying to think. Um, no, those are the only two she's ever been with me to. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
great
never.
games. Yeah.
Yeah, no, oh yeah, because I remember her first game. I mean, be that Ivy buzzer beater. I looked at her right after this happened. I'm like, this doesn't happen very often. This is legit the first time I've actually seen a 0 on the clock buzzer beater for Purdue
Yeah.
at home. I've seen others that where they've hit and there's been like
Yeah. Like,
point 0.4,
fi-
point 0.5, point 0.6 or
right.
whatever,
Yeah.
and the team still got one prayer left. But yeah, so should
Yeah.
be a fun one for sure.
I mean, one thing to look out is, I didn't watch the game, but just kind of reading online, it sounded like Illinois yesterday against, or 2 nights ago, same
Mhm.
night as us, against Northwestern, played 5 out,
Mhm.
which, you wonder like who Edie guards in that situation with Coleman Hawkins, because a guy who can hit the three, you wonder maybe we put Trey Kaufman right on him to start just because of that capability. I mean, he can. I feel like Cohen Hawkins goes from, I think someone put on the boards perfectly. It's like he goes from like, wow, this kid's why is he in the NBA, to like, oh my God, what is he even doing out there on the
Yeah,
floor right now?
right.
Because he's very helter skelter.
He's
So
very
hopefully,
arrogant too.
yes, yeah. So hopefully we get bad Cohen Hawkins tomorrow. Obviously another storyline I guess to look out for is the Dre Gibbs Lawhorn, making his appearance at Mackey, the former Purdue commit from Lafayette.
He'll get a warm welcome.
Yeah, so you mean you should probably be thinking the students are going to be there. Um, yeah, that's, I mean, interesting. Another storyline is Domask for them. He put up like 30 against Northwestern. He's their Southern Illinois transfer, so him and Lance Jones, former
Yeah,
teammates. I was actually wondering if maybe Jones guards him to start, just because of. I feel like Lawyer can guard Luke Goody. They're high school teammates. I mean, there's a lot of
true,
like former
true. A
teammates
lot of
connection.
storylines. Yeah,
Yeah, you wonder if he starts with him. Braden maybe starts out on I think Ty Rogers is their point guard, I think.
yeah, yeah.
So you wonder if like maybe Lance Jones takes Domask just from because he's one of their better scorers
He's
by
familiar with
far,
him. Hmm.
and then maybe Edie takes their forward, as we've kind of seen in the past, like against Indiana last year. He took Malik Renew, and Trace Jackson Davis guarded um, Caleb first versus guarding each other, so they wouldn't get in foul trouble.
That Mooney comment about when Illinois was number one and D Brown 1 man fast break.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Purdue gave them all they wanted that day on CBS. Matt Kiefer, leading scorer for Purdue that day.
the engineer.
Um, engineer, yeah, very hard to do playing Division One athletics. Hard to do no matter what, but
Yeah,
put on Division One athletics on top of it, that takes a special
yeah.
person. No, looking forward to the game tomorrow though. It's I expect a good game. I'm interested to
Mhm.
see what the spread's going to be on it.
Would you
Um,
would you say these are probably the two most successful Big Ten programs probably in the last 5-6 years?
yeah,
Argue they
yeah,
won the big. I mean, well, they should have won the Big Ten one year when Michigan got it because they had the stupid
yeah.
COVID. There was like a COVID cancellation.
You could argue
Um,
Michigan's up there because you know 2 years ago they got this farther than anybody else in the conference and Big Ten
yeah,
or the NCAA tournament. Michigan State's consistent, but they haven't won too many Big Ten titles in that time frame and haven't done a ton of tournaments. So
hmm
I think you're looking at probably the top two.
when
Yeah.
I think back to a couple years ago, that 2021-2022 season, the game in Champaign was on Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Yep.
Because I watched the game from our sponsor, Mad Mush. It went to like double overtime or something.
Yep.
Like it was
It
a
did. Yep.
crazy game. Started at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, yeah, I took a long lunch that day.
I believe I either took that day off or took the afternoon off because I watched the
Yeah,
game. I don't remember which I did. I think I took the day off.
yeah, that
Um,
was that game was something else.
yes, it was.
I had watched the game from Mackey because I remember I was supposed to go to the one in Mackey that year, but there was another again Michigan and COVID. Like they had some games canceled, had to be rescheduled, so it pushed all these games back, and so the pushed the Illinois game from like a Tuesday that I was supposed to go to like a Wednesday, or it was supposed to be like a maybe like push it like back to next week, and then push it to a day where I had to travel and I was watching it from a
Yeah,
hotel in Evansville.
I forgot about
Um,
that Michigan scenario pushing everything
yeah,
back. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it ruined
So,
everything.
but this is definitely a team I like to beat. Like I
Yep,
said, one of my favorite teams to beat. I would say my only other two teams in all of college basketball I like to beat more is Indiana, of course, and Michigan State.
yep.
Yep. So then it's Illinois, and I don't even know who'd be fourth. It's those three are pretty much separated themselves amongst other teams for me. So
Yeah, yeah. I have to agree.
yeah, but what's your prediction for tomorrow night? And who's player of the game?
Whew. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. Um, say Boilers 81, Illinois 72.
I like it. I like
What
it.
was the actually? I didn't have, is there a spread on the game yet?
I haven't seen one yet. It usually comes out the day
I
before.
think like Ken Pom predicts like a 9-point win, something like that. Um, let's see here.
I
Yeah,
will go
nothing yet.
Purdue 79, Illinois 79, Illinois 64.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
I'm
love a
feeling
15
pretty.
point
Yeah,
win.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Play of the game. I think Edie. I think it's the game where Edie just like puts up like I guess Edie put up like 30 in this game. Just because they can't like be like yeah. I mean, as much as we talk about um, you know, what worries me about Illinois, it's like they got to guard us too. So or they got to guard Purdue, they got to guard Edie, and yeah, they can't. Hopefully.
I'm going with Fletcher Lawyer hits at least 5 threes tomorrow.
Oh man,
Hot hand, feeling it.
yeah,
In the years we've beat Illinois at home pretty comfortably, somebody usually goes nuts from three.
yeah.
Whether it's DJ Bird, Ryan Smith, Keaton
John Hart.
Grant, John Hart on the road, Sasha Stefanovic.
Hmm.
Yeah, usually it's somebody kind of goes nutty. So I almost went with Lance Jones, but I think tomorrow's Fletcher's night.
I hope Lance has a kind of a bounce back game from the Northwestern game. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know if like again that was back in his hometown. This is again another team from his home state. Obviously, he's got a friend on the other side. But hopefully, he seems to play pretty well in Mackey, so I'm not
yeah.
too worried about that.
Get some other guys in foul trouble early on. Getting that bonus halfway through the first half, and Purdue should be in pretty good shape. I would
Mhm.
think. I would think so.
Did you see that? So teams always like post like a graphic about like the next game that they have. Illinois, they posted their graphic for the Purdue game, and the player they used was Dre Gibson Lawhorn.
Did not see that, but that's
Yeah,
pretty smart on their social media team's
yeah,
part, I guess. So,
yeah.
looking at other games around the Big Ten, there's one going on right now, halfway through the second half. Michigan State's up 20 at home against Penn State. No
Penn
surprise
State.
there.
Michigan State's playing a little
Uh,
better. They're playing a lot better, actually.
yeah, they're starting to click a little bit. Minnesota at Michigan tonight. Michigan's 5.5-point favorites. That's a 9 o'clock tip. I think Michigan
Both
wins
these
that
teams are
one.
pretty bad. I think Michigan wins. Both teams are pretty bad.
Saturday, we got 3 games. Rutgers at Iowa at noon.
Iowa 0-3 in the Big Ten. And this is a game of complete opposites. Rutgers, loves to slow it down and get really ugly, and Iowa's doesn't really care about defense. Is all gas, no breaks. But I think Iowa wins just because they're at home.
I think Iowa at home
Yeah,
too.
I think Rutgers can keep up with them.
Nebraska playing some really good basketball, but they travel to a tough place to play in the Kohl Center. Number 21, Wisconsin, 2:15 start.
Yeah, Wisconsin's playing really well too. I think Wisconsin takes care of business pretty
I
handily at
agree.
home.
Then a national night game on Fox, 8 o'clock. Ohio State at Indiana, and Indiana really needs this one. I know that's crazy when they're 10-3, 10-4, whatever they are, but coming off a shellacking loss on the road to Nebraska, they need to bounce back at home.
This is a be interesting game. Ohio State's arguably, top 4 Big Ten team, depending on where you put Michigan State. I think right now it's Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin, and then one of Ohio State and or Michigan State, depending on the night. They've got really good guards. And that's Indiana seems to has struggled with against teams with legit guards, and these are guards that actually have size. It's a matter of can Ohio State hang with Indiana down low. I think Indiana squeaks one out at home just because they're at home. And they'll get somebody in foul trouble late because it is what it is.
You're not wrong. I'm gonna take Ohio State in a close one. I know I've been saying on this podcast, I just don't think Indiana's very good. I
No,
just don't.
they're
I just don't.
it's
And
crazy
I
because I
think
mean
they're the
they
team
shot.
that if losses start piling up, they could really free fall.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen just kind of, perusing the Twitter sphere. I've seen a lot of Indiana fans say like, these guys don't like the body language of this team is terrible. Like they look like they're not enjoying playing with each other. So you do wonder if they kind of have a skid like they did last year, where there was that point in January, early February, where they like they lost, they got like blown out at Penn State, and it was like Indiana's not making the tournament. They this is a horrible team, and then they just went on an absolute tear and got a 4 seed. But I think that's because you had guys like Trace Jackson Davis and Race Thompson leading the way. And I don't know, and
And Hutch
I mean,
Shafino, don't forget about him
right, just
last
like
year.
senior leadership, that
Oh,
sort of
oh
thing.
yeah,
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 like
yeah.
guys kind of steady the ship. Whereas like this team, you got Xavier Johnson, but
Nah.
yeah, I mean Trey Galloway. I'm not sure how much these guys when you got. I don't know. Um, But yeah, yeah, I don't know about this team. I feel like
It,
there's like, I mean, they shot 50% from three and they lost by 16.
the
Um,
more I watch IU, and I'm not saying it's just because I'm a Purdue fan and can't stand IU, the more blessed and appreciative I am of Matt Painter and the culture Purdue has. Because,
mhm.
like what you said, like the IU fans complain is these guys don't like to play with each other. Looks like the violence. How many times have we heard IU fans complain about that in the last decade? 3 different 10 years of coaches. We've heard
Yep.
the same complaint, and Purdue, yeah, we've had some years where we could say that, but not too often.
No, I mean, not since 2013, 2014.
Exactly, those 2 years back to
So
back.
almost 10 years
Yeah,
it's been,
yeah,
which is, I mean, coincidentally when Painter kind of changed up his way of recruiting, which, I mean, yeah,
yep,
we've been pretty lucky.
yep.
But yeah, I think yeah, wins a close one, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State wins that. And there was I mean, I saw there was a tweet our good buddy, our IU friend, shared in our group chat. They had like a the Ken Palm predictions for Indiana in the month of January was like 1-7 with their one home game against like Minnesota. And I looked at
Hmm.
it's like they do have a pretty tough January schedule. Like this could make or break.
Yeah,
Again, like you said, like if they have a really bad January, it could break
yep,
them.
yep. Law season
So
left, and
fingers crossed.
if you're riding a big skid, it's not good. 3 games on Sunday: Michigan at Penn State. Good football matchup.
um, I guess Michigan. I don't like this Michigan team. I think Michigan is pretty bad. But I think Penn State's just worse.
I do too. I do too. I'm going Michigan on the road. Maryland at Minnesota.
I'm taking Minnesota. Maryland, they're bad.
They were not good the other night. It was hard to
Yeah.
watch
I
at
mean,
times. I'm
I
glad
kind
they
of
weren't, but it
yeah. I
was
mean, like just
ugly.
like again, I think I sent to I don't know if it was to I think it's to you guys in our group chat with our other buddies, but it was like Northwestern did such a good job of getting Boo Booey in actions to where it got Lance Jones off of him. Screening a guard with another guard, so all of a sudden he's got Fletcher Lawyer on him. Then he just toasted him and did really well. Um, I feel like Maryland had Lance Jones on Jameer Young all night and tried absolutely nothing outside of like it's throwing a big at him. Um, but then now he's got to try to roll the basket with Zach Edey chasing him down. Like it's a little different than you got Fletcher Lawyer on him. I just couldn't believe, yeah, just how it was just baffling to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think Minnesota wins that just because yeah, I just don't trust Maryland on the road.
I'll take Maryland just to differ. Just to differ.
Yeah.
We're agreeing too much. And lastly, Michigan State and Northwestern.
Hey, Michigan State,
I'd like to take Northwestern, but I don't see it.
same. Yeah, they've been playing pretty crappy ever since they beat Purdue.
Yep. Yep.
Shocker.
And we probably won't record a podcast before Purdue's next game after the Illinois game.
Hmm.
That's at Nebraska, 9 o'clock on Peacock Tuesday night. So a late one. Um, early prediction for that one. I know it would be nice to know how Purdue fares tomorrow before making this
Yeah.
prediction, but early
Um,
prediction.
I think it's gonna be a tight one.
Hmm.
I think it'll be like 76-71, that
You're
type
real
of
close.
game.
I'm thinking 77-70. So we're right there.
Yeah, Tominaga's going off for like 45.
He's fun to watch. He's fun to watch.
He is, and so is I tweeted it last night. 53, the guy, he's got a massive ponytail, like just all hustle, like
Yep.
no offensive game whatsoever. But like the dude, like just absolutely went airborne for a dive for a loose ball, and it won my heart over.
They'll shoot a lot
It
of
was,
threes against Purdue.
yeah, yeah. He was also the kid that when he went up the line, he like practiced his free throw shot like 2 or 3 times. Like this kid's not making anything. And he ended up actually hitting 2 of them. And then the fun thing, I think he was like 0 for 4, 0 for 3 or something like that. And then he made 2 of 2, and then he just walked away, and he just was just like,
You know, it's funny after you mentioned that. I was trying to think of people in my head, decent free throw shooters that I've seen do that. The only one at Purdue, and he started off as a bad free throw shooter. By the time he left Purdue, he was pretty reliable. Carl Landry. He always used to do one hand before he got the ball.
okay. I mean, this guy was doing like 2 or 3, like he was like doing it like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, there's guy, this guy's like has to be like a 20% free throw shooter.
Might as well shoot
Like,
granny style or outlet pass style at that
yeah,
point. Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, it's gonna be that place is gonna be rocking. I think. It was actually
else,
really cool watching their game last night against Indiana. Tomi Naga's parents were there from
yes.
Japan. His professor was there from Japan. It was like
Yeah, I thought
it's
that was
awesome.
odd.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like Sean
but
Morris's comment. Like my professors would fly away from me. They
right.
wouldn't fly to me. But 2 more games I want your predictions on, both outside the Big Ten, but in the state of Indiana. Butler tomorrow night, tough loss for them. The other night, hosting the defending national champion, number 4 ranked UConn Huskies.
Man, Hinkle Magic is a real thing.
It is.
I think UConn is legit. I think UConn wins by double digits.
I do too.
But this Butler team's playing a lot better than the other last year team, especially. I mean, I've
Yeah.
kind of seen them. They're teetering on. I've seen 1 week they're in bracketology. They're in like the last team in. Next week they're last team out. But I mean, this UConn team is. Although they have someone out. I thought maybe I'm making
Yeah,
that up.
they've played most of the season with this guy out. I forget his name, but
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they're defending champs for a reason. One of the reasons they're one of the teams that are still picked to win this year.
yep.
Um, but yeah, I think UConn double
Yeah,
digits.
that'll be 3 L's in a row for Butler if they lose.
Hmm.
And then Notre Dame, a huge blowout home victory over Virginia last week that opened a lot of people's eyes. I think more so to Virginia losing than Notre Dame
Yeah.
winning. Then they lost a close one to NC State. Now they host number 14 Duke on Saturday, which they'll probably a decent amount of Duke fans because for whatever reason when they come to South Bend, their fans show up pretty well because they are a national team if you like it or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. I mean, Notre Dame went from getting absolutely embarrassed at home by I was like a no-name school, like where Shrewsbury's calling out the team. Hey, if you want to transfer, I'll help you. Like, and people were upset about it. It's like, I mean,
He
like,
probably could have went about it differently, but I totally understand where he's coming from.
yeah. But it worked because then they came
Yeah.
back and just smacked the crap out of Virginia.
Yep.
I still think Duke handles them
Yeah, I do too.
at home,
Duke's starting to become sneaky this year. Ranked
which is
high,
weird saying
took
since
some
Duke.
bumps, and now they're 14. They're slowly climbing up the rankings where they'll be
Yeah.
right in the thick of things come March.
And they've been hit. They've had some injury issues
Yeah.
too, so they're starting to get guys back. I know Tyrese Proctor's been out bits and pieces, but yeah,
Yeah, it's been
it's always
crazy. I mean, we saw number 10 Arizona go out to Stanford and get dominated over the weekend. So you just never know. Life on the
I
road's hard.
completely forgot that Peja Stojakovic's son's on Stanford. I remember when he committed
That's
there,
right.
but yeah, it's crazy to see those NBA guys that we grew up watching now with their kids in college.
Yeah, unbelievable. So, but any final thoughts for basketball news or anything basketball related?
Man, just get the W tomorrow. Just let me have a good weekend.
Yes. Amen to that.
I mean, these games have always been good, but yeah, I hope it's a game similar to 2022 where Purdue just takes control and just doesn't
Yep.
makes them quit.
Not a ton of football news going on right now. The portal's closed, so nobody can enter right now unless they're grad transfer. Grad transfer can enter anytime, but people that are in it can still they still got time to make up their mind where they're going. Purdue is hosting 2 wide receiver transfers right now on campus this weekend, both from Georgia, which would be nice. It's nice that Georgia's a little pipeline for us, Webby.
Who would have thought?
We'll take your second and third stringers all day long.
Absolutely.
Good. But I guess the big news around the Purdue football this week is we talked about last week Nick Scorton going into the transfer portal. Well, today he officially committed to Texas A&M. So no real shocker there. I'd rather him go there than Louisville or anywhere in the Big Ten. So no real shocker there. It does sound like it was mainly, if not all, money driven. So I mean it's hard to blame kids when that much money's been thrown on the table. I can't say I wouldn't do the same thing, but part of me, of course, as a Purdue fan, is thinking, man, he could have been a legend. But I think we're coming into the age of college athletics. We're going to see fewer and fewer kids care about leaving a legacy, and they're going to go chase the bag.
Yeah, I mean, especially a game like football, like where like your career could be over in an instant. Like it's hard to, why not take it now while you can? Because it's nothing's guaranteed.
Right.
So yeah, it's hard, but yeah, it does suck, especially when he's put in 2 years. This year, especially he emerged is like it was like, hey, I'm not sure what kind of defense Mike Elko runs, but like are you going to be featured the same way you had at Purdue? I mean, you're going to SEC, so you're going against a lot better opponents, a lot better lines. Like you're going to have the same success. Obviously, if you do well, then you obviously will shut up. But it's like, man, you could dominate for one more year at Purdue.
I'm going to be following him and Garrett Miller, assuming he's healthy, pretty closely to see how those guys do. Also, Deion Burks, Oklahoma. I mean, I'll be trying to keep track of all the guys who left Purdue, but especially the ones that went to big time schools.
Yeah, and who contributed a lot. I mean, Garrett Miller not so much, but like Scorton and Burks like were big contributors this year. So it's curious to see like that, that they step up, I guess, to SEC football. Like how well do they do? Do they, like I mean, assuming Scorton comes out for the draft next year, like I'm curious to like where he lands after playing at A&M versus like maybe if he had a similar season at Purdue, like that difference between second round versus fifth round, fourth round. So yeah.
Yep. It'll be real interesting. And now got to wonder with Kadrian Jenkins, assuming he stays through at spring, how is this going to impact his usage at Purdue? Last year, he and Scorton were both feeding off each other. Now he's probably going to be the main focus for offensive line next year, at least to start the season.
Yeah. Let's see who else we can get in the portal, or someone else can step up. But yeah, I don't envy Coach Walters at all.
No. And what was frustrating about this whole Scorton thing, reports has it that he didn't let Walters and staff know until 2 minutes before the news broke. That's, I mean, there's probably no ever great time to do it, but that's kind of a blind side. That leaves a bad taste in their mouth. You didn't leave the program on a great note.
Yeah. And especially coming to the fact, they'd already done the whole thing of like, they went down there and things were good. And then all of a sudden, no one should ever leave for Christmas break. Let's just put that
West Lafayette. Santa stops in West Lafayette.
Yeah. But it's crazy.
Other than that, pretty quiet. Bowl games had been going on. We still got national championship game. Any prediction? Michigan bring it home for the Big Ten, or does future Big Ten team next year Washington bring it home?
I'm pulling hard for Washington.
I am too.
I usually don't care in these games. I usually just want to watch a good game, but I was pulling hard for Alabama.
I was too. I felt dirty, but I did.
But how crappy do you feel if you're Georgia, who is clearly better than Alabama, but you
best team in the country?
Yeah, crapped your pants on the wrong time.
That's why I can't wait for the 12 team. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be a lot better than the 4 team.
Yeah, and there's still going to be that the 13 team feels like they got shafted for whatever reason. But it's that you're talking, a Miami versus a Georgia and Alabama type thing. But maybe Miami's probably a bad example because they're not very good either.
Well, and I still hate the narrative out there. Well, see, Florida State didn't deserve to be in. they're playing with like their fifth string quarterback and they had
Right.
9
Yeah.
defensive starters not play. I mean, was it ugly? Absolutely. And thank you, Florida
Yeah.
State, for taking away our biggest bowl deficit loss ever. But I'm like, that's still not the point. That wasn't
No.
the point to begin with. Were they, after Jordan Travis went out and the team that beat Louisville, were they a top 4 team? No, but they still did everything you put in front of them. And up
Right.
to that date, that was always what we were told: winning the regular season matters. And I still think they got screwed, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. In that case, even though I'm mad Michigan was the victor, I do love that SEC's not even in the national championship.
Yeah. That is a nice part. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm interested because I don't think Alabama's line will get, or Washington's line is going to get pushed around as much as Alabama's did, which is really weird to see an
Yeah,
Alabama line get dominated. Um, I think Washington will be a little better, and I mean Michael Penix has been
he
so
gets the
fun to
ball in his
watch.
hands
Like,
quick, throws a great deep
yeah,
ball. So,
yeah,
but really, I thought McCarthy was the difference between him and Milrow. Um,
oh yeah.
I
I
think if
mean,
McCarthy was on Alabama, Alabama wins that game. So,
yeah, I mean, he's nothing. He's not flashy, but he was
no,
just steady Eddie. Like
yep,
he was a game manager, like which is exactly what they needed.
yep,
I mean, give the ball to Corum, let him do his thing. What he didn't play in the Big Ten championship, did he? He was hurt, right? Or
correct. He's been banged up
yeah,
here and there through the year, even though he
yeah.
had like 20 some touchdowns.
Um, because I was thinking, 'cause they said that he, broke the record for most touchdowns. I was like, oh, I saw him. I was like, wait, I think no, I think he was out because I remember their
Oh,
backup still
you mean
ran him.
last year? You mean last year?
Yeah,
Yeah. I thought you meant this year against Iowa. Yeah, no,
no,
last year he was out. Yeah, because
yeah,
Michigan fans were saying if he hadn't got hurt late in the season, he would have won a Heisman, which I don't think he would have, but
yeah.
still.
But I hope Washington
Yep,
wins.
I do too.
Which is like the fact that it's Caleb DeBoer, Michael
Yep.
Penix, both were down to lose at the same time. It's just crazy. Which I forgot DeBoer was only down there for a year. I
Yeah.
thought he was down there for more, but yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
Given,
And
um,
I think Harbaugh's gone after this game no matter what.
yeah, God, they pissed me off.
I
um,
think he's gone, especially if they win. What else can he do?
yeah, right,
I
yeah,
mean, you can always win more, but you've already went back to your alma mater that you played for. You won national title. You've
right
been
off in the sunset.
flirting with
Yeah,
the NFL. Now there's
yeah,
one decent job open now, and I see that because of their quarterback. I think is really good, and there's going to be a few more jobs open come Monday. I
yeah,
don't know how good they are, but you got that Charger job, and he played for the Chargers a little bit, so I think
yeah.
you're safe, Webby. I think Eberflus is back.
Not the good thing.
I'm just
I don't
saying.
know.
I
Yeah,
think
from
you're safe from
Harbaugh, yeah,
Harbaugh.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The
yeah.
Bears have been playing better defensively,
They've
but
been playing
whatever.
better overall as a team, I think.
Yeah,
So.
but yeah, go
But this is what they did
Huskies.
to you last year too. They got some momentum at the end of the year to where everybody thought looked great this
Yeah.
year, and it hadn't been. So,
I mean, I keep forgetting too with Washington is Demarcus Shepard pretty tie. Obviously
I
former
forgot
wide
that till
receivers
you mentioned
coach,
that the
like,
other
so
night. Yep.
yeah, it's good for him. Which again, I mean, we were talking in our group chat. I was trying to figure out why he left, if it was ever really reported. I know Andrew, who couldn't make it, he's like, to call the plays, but watching the game, he was not calling the plays because they had a guy up in
No,
the booth that wasn't him. So
he's
you
probably
wonder,
more involved with
yeah,
coming up with plays and schemes, but not. I don't think he's calling plays
yeah, but
because
so yeah,
that I
I like,
saw Iowa fans prayed like on Twitter, like pay Washington's office coordinator whatever he wants to come. I'm like, he's not coming to Iowa. You kidding me? Come on, he's gonna be in the conference anyways.
yeah,
So
it's not like it's yeah.
yeah,
Um, I love Jamarcus, so I want them to win simply for him.
what a shit
Um,
show Iowa was in that bowl game.
I was,
Glad I took him in my parlay.
yeah, I was talking. Good buddy is a Tennessee fan. He's a friend of mine. And he was like, "Yeah, I have no idea who would think. They're starting a freshman quarterback who was, number 2 player in the country, sort of thing. They paid him like $8 million supposedly. I don't know, and he had as many rushing touchdowns as Iowa given up. He has given up like all year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
They were awful.
yeah, they were terrible. Like I turned it on and immediately saw the pick. Let's them throw or what's their quarterback?
Deacon
Um,
Hill,
Deacon Hill. I'll call him Taysom Hill. Deacon Hill throw a pick. And I texted my friend like he's like literally the worst quarterback I think I've ever watched
and he
in
still
college
beat us.
football. Yeah, that's
That game still infuriates me. That happened back in October,
yeah,
and I still
yeah,
get mad thinking about it.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we had it. We had the ball with a chance to win the game at
yep,
the end, no matter like even how crappy we played.
yep, yep. Oh, a healthy Hudson Card that game
Sports.
maybe is different, but
Yeah,
it's always next year. There's always next year. But speaking of next year, we're in a new year. We're in
we're in a new year.
2024. It's the month of
Crazy.
January. So you know what that
You're the
means?
Boilermaker.
You're the Boilermaker. It's a brand new pizza of the month from Mad Mushroom, which is one of the sponsors of the Boiler Breakdown podcast. But let me tell you a little bit about Mad Mush before I tell you what pizza of the month they got going on for January, which looks like is another good one. Let me get my read up here. Come on. Boiler Breakdown is brought to you by Mad Mushroom, serving Boilermakers since 1993. They're located in the heart of West Lafayette and known as the home of the original cheese sticks. Whenever I visit, Webby visits, Andrew visits, we like to sit down and have an ice cold beer while trying out their latest pizza of the month. Drum roll, please. Is the Rage Against the Resolutions.
Oh,
It's top.
breaking my heart with that name because Rage Against the Machine just announced they're never touring again. I never got a chance to see
I
them.
did
And
not
just
see that. I was about to
yeah,
say
they came
something
out.
about that.
They came out and said they're done because they had like a tour canceled because of COVID things like that. And so there was like they're like, yeah, we're not rescheduling these shows. We're done. Period.
Well,
And
you can
broke my
get
heart.
this pizza and listen to Rage Against the Machines. It's
Yeah.
topped with ham, deli, and cup and char pepperoni. I love cup and char pepperoni, salami, onions, pepperdoll peppers, and mozzarella cheese, finished with a Parmesan and Romano cheese blend and an Italian aioli, starting at $14. So next time you're in town, tell them the Boiler Breakdown sent you. You get $5 off any order over $20. And any Boiler Breakdown listener or viewer can also use the coupon code BREAK5, BREAK5, all caps, to claim your discount online at madmushroom.com. That's Mad Mushroom. Feed your head.
So what time you rolling into West Lafayette tomorrow? Might be able to depend what time you.
I'm going to have to make an earlier stop than planned because I want some cheese sticks and I want some of that pizza.
Yep.
And I'm hungry right now, and it's 9 o'clock at night. But Webby, you got a good looking shirt on. Is that new?
I do. No, I've
New
had this
shirt?
for a while.
No,
I haven't worn it on the pod in a while because I saw it probably because I'm horrible about putting laundry away, so it just gets buried. It just
Hunter,
piles of
I'm
clothes.
I'm with you there, brother.
I pulled it out yesterday. I was like, oh, I haven't worn this in a while. I'll wear this on the pod tomorrow. No, it's from the shop. It's great to Purdue Pete with a basketball hoop. I think it came out last year, the year before.
They have so
Still
many
fits.
good Purdue designs. I can't keep
I can
track
keep
of
up.
when they
Yeah,
came out.
fits great. Super soft. It's from the shop. Shop's been serving hometown apparel since 2011. They started out in a garage. Now they've got 2 brick and mortar locations plus an online store based here in Indianapolis, where I'm located. I'm pretty sure they're printed in Indy, unlike maybe some other places that I've gotten shirts shipped from that came from like California. Not gonna name names, but yeah, they come from Indy. Great people, whether you're a Boilermaker, a Hoosier, a Bulldog, Tiger, Cardinal, Sycamore,
Giant,
which
Tiger.
shout
Yeah,
out to
he's a
Sycamore.
Tiger.
Indiana State basketball is legit.
Yeah,
Easily
they're
the
pretty
second
good.
best team in the state.
Mhm.
Um,
Don't sleep on the Dons either. Mastodons. They might
okay.
be number 3. They might be number
I've seen a
3.
couple completely changed. I've seen a couple bracketologies that have Purdue and Purdue Fort Wayne in the same bracket. I'm like, that would be the coolest thing ever if Purdue plays.
Or the worst.
Or the worst.
For me, especially. I
That's
live in
true.
Fort Wayne. I don't want anything to do with that, even though I've
And your
never
wife is
met.
an alum of there. Your wife's
That is
technically an alum
true.
of there.
She's
House
yeah,
divided.
well, yeah.
Anyways, the shop does not have Don t-shirts, so we're gonna stick with the Boilermakers.
They should. That's kind of
That's true.
surprising to be
Yeah,
honest, because I don't.
yeah. But whether so they've also got anything pop culture related to Indiana. They release vintage designs. I just saw they just released a shirt for a restaurant. I think a restaurant there
Yeah, I
too.
had to look it up because I'm like, no, I don't
Yeah,
remember that place.
yeah. We're not indie natives, so a lot of these places I'm just like from the 70s, 80s, well before our time. I have no idea. But with just all things Indiana, state parks, great stuff. Super comfortable, fit really well. But if you go to the shopindy.com, use promo code breakdown for you get 20% off your first order. They're always running deals, whether it's free shipping, 20, 15, 20% off, but use this code first time and you get 25% off your entire order.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Use some of that Christmas money you got. Use some of
Hmm.
that, or maybe you got a gift card. Use that gift card. So, well, Webby, let's take care of business tomorrow night. Will you be there?
TBD. As of right now, no,
TBD.
but I'm looking. Some tickets are really expensive.
Well, yes, yeah. Every game's expensive on the
Yeah,
secondary market, but I will be there. Webby, hopefully, will be there. If you see us, please say hi. Uh, don't be shy. We'd love to see you. We'd love to meet you. We'd love to meet our supporters of our podcast. We love doing this. It's made by
love
Purdue
talking
fans
Purdue.
for Purdue fans. That's why we do it. We enjoy it. So thanks once again to Mad Mush and the shop for sponsoring this episode like they generously have the last few years. And with that said, let's boil up, hammer down, beat the Illini and the Cornhuskers.
Boiler up. Indiana corn's better.